My name is Michelle, the town clerk here in Naples, and thank you everybody for coming out today. Greetings. In the name of the state of Maine, you are required to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of Naples qualified by law to vote in town affairs to meet at the Naples Town Office on Tuesday, the 20th day of May 2025 from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., then and there to act on Articles 1 through 9 as set out below, as well as to warn said voters to meet at the Lake Region High School on Saturday, May 10th, 2025 at 10 a.m., then and there to act upon Articles 10 through 50 to wit. If I could have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is over here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a couple test questions to make sure that everyone's clicker is working. We're going to slide it over here. The way that the clickers work, if you haven't participated with them before, you can, while the vote is open, go back and forth as many times as you want, yes, no. The participation grid here is going to let you know if your clicker is working. If you're 7, it's going to light up when we open the vote. If you don't hit it, it's not going to light up. Once we get to the votes, it's not going to show each clicker individually. It's just going to show yes and no and who abstains from the vote. So test question number 1 is today Saturday. Is it open? Yeah? Yep. And we'll hit full screen there. And so it's turning this light blue as long as you have it. If you happen to have one that's still gray, even though you're hitting yes and no, we will go over to the next screen for the rest of you in a second. 19, 24, 33, 34. If it is not working, then you can go see Jamie and Kaylee in the back corner, and they can get you another clicker that is working. So 24, 33, and 34, and 19 have not hit yes or no or abstain. 33, yep, now we're just 19 and 24. I did see someone that was walking to the back, and then we have another one here too. Okay, if we can hit over or down, I think it might be. So the rest on here up to 49, and then I just need to make sure that we get the rest of these in here, so just 1 second.
I want to thank everybody for coming, braving the rain. I have these little glitches cleaned up any time now. We'll get going. Some of you may be looking up here and looking at me and saying there's something different about him. Yes, I have lost a little weight, but I feel good. I'm here. We're all here together on another beautiful day in Naples. They're all beautiful in Naples. And glad to be here. Thank you. Thank you. That applause is for you as well. Thank you. What? What'd you say, Priscilla? That's okay. Any day is a beautiful day in Naples. And the really good news is tomorrow, Mother's Day, it's supposed to be beautiful. The weather is supposed to be perfect. So, early Mother's Day to everybody. Hopefully the meeting won't last till tomorrow. Some have. Some of the old ones. You remember the old ones? We broke for lunch and came back and spent the afternoon in the upstairs at the Legion. think this is a pretty good turnout for the, given the kind of day it is. Once we get going, you know the rules. Come to the microphone, speak into the microphone so everybody can hear you. No smoking on school grounds, you know, all that. I don't have to go through that. As long as articles are supported by both the Select Board and the Budget Committee, I won't be reading that section of the article. If there is any dissension noted, I will mention that, but other than that, we'll just assume that everybody supports it. All the elected officials support it when we do an article. Yep.
Is there any time for explanation? Because these are not easy to understand.
Are you talking about the first ones, the ordinances? Yeah, we're not. Go ahead.
And others.
Yes, there will be time for explanations for any questions that you have. Formats, everything's going to be the same, except that we're trying a new format this time, and the select people, the budget committee, everybody is in the seats with you. A lot of them have concentrated themselves over here. You know the old saying about one will get them all. But we won't do that. What's that?
Why was that decision made not to have them up?
I don't, not my decision. It's a question that could be asked, I suppose, if you.
Just
Yeah,
curious.
I think Michelle will discuss it soon. I do.
And we have microphones here and there, so
Yep.
if somebody wants to speak.
And we will speak right in, just like you just did. That was good. We all heard you. That's Drew Knightley, the captain of Lake Region Television. For you folks who couldn't get here today, watching us online, I want to say hello to you and to all the ships at sea. We all set? Okay, we have an update. The system doesn't work. These don't work. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go to, did you say Jesse?
Yep, Jesse's handing them out right now. It's not that they don't work. We were able to enter 1 through 50. It's not allowing us to enter 50 plus. And being a Saturday, I can't call them to help us walk through it. So we're going to go to a hand-raised vote. Jesse's handing out tags to put your hands up. To answer, who had the question of the select board not being up on the, hi, yes. So in a recent class with MMA Legal, they stated that this is a town of Naples meeting, not a board of selectmen meeting, and they highly suggest that the board isn't on the stage for any intimidating reasons, that they're controlling the meeting. It's your meeting as a whole, not just the board's meeting. You're welcome. We'll be with you all shortly, and I apologize for the inconvenience. All right, does everybody have a purple slip? Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, so Article 10 is to choose a moderator to preside at said meeting. Have any nominations?
Nominate Penn Worcester.
Second.
A second for Penn. Any other nominations?
Nomination ceased.
All those in favor for Penn? Penn, you're the moderator. Do you, Pennell Worcester, swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state so long as you shall continue a citizen thereof?
I do.
Do you swear that you will discharge to the best of your abilities the duties incumbent on you as moderator for this annual town meeting for the town of Naples here, May 10th, 2025, at Lake Region High School, according to the Constitution and laws of the state?
I do.
I'm going to turn it over to Penn.
Okay, before we get going, we have a couple of comments from our town manager, Jason Rogers.
Next slide. Okay. All right, before we get the meeting started, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence as we recognize those loved ones and town residents that are no longer with us. Thank you. All right, before I get into the budget overview, I'd like to invite the Chairman of the Select Board, Ted Shane, to the mic real quick. Just had a brief comment.
Kind of want to turn this around so I can see you, but everybody knows that I'm always up for a wise comment, and 2 years ago, this meeting lasted 17 minutes, and we've already been here a half hour. So people have been asking for a few weeks, are we getting a new town manager, and when's he starting, blah, blah, blah. And I finally said that we would announce him at the town meeting. So today, joining us is our new town manager, starting on May 19th, is Randy Lassard. He's here beside me. Everybody welcome him, and there's gonna be a 2-day changeover on May 19th between him and Jason, so don't bombard him on the first day. Give him a few days to get his feet wet and go in and bombard him after that, I guess.
All right, before I get into the budget overview, I would like to note that it was pointed out that on the town warrant, there was a typographical error. If you'll notice in the various articles pertaining to the budget, you'll see that it says Select Board recommends 6-0. As you know, we only have 5 Select Board members. Their votes were unanimous on all articles, so there's not an issue of the vote count pertaining to those, but just a note that there was a typographical error. There are actually 5 Select Board members. For a brief overview of how this budget season went through the slide a few times with the Budget Committee and the Select Board throughout the process. When I entered in the budget season, I had proposed a 1.4% increase in the budget. That was a total of about $88,000. And that primarily was attributed to the healthcare costs. So healthcare costs this year went up 17% for municipal employees to the tune of approximately $88,000. However, the Budget Committee, through their process, their proposed budget was a 1.1% decrease in the municipal budget. They also made a recommendation to offset that decrease by taking a portion of the unassigned fund balance to fund the capital improvement projects. This contributed to driving down the mill rate. The school budget, last year we saw a 7.2% budget increase, and this year is about 8.7% increase for a total of $634,000. We cannot reduce municipal spending enough to offset this increase, so that is why you're seeing the proposed nearly 20-cent increase in the mill rate to account for those budget items. County budget, that increased by 5%. You will be asked to vote on a couple new items this year. In the past, our ACO has operated under an interlocal agreement with the towns of Casco and Raymond. During the past year, there was a push to come up with a Naples-only solution. That's the old budget was about $44,000 in the interlocal agreement. That's how much our cost was, our cost sharing was for that employee and that service. This year, we're looking at about a $98,000 budget for a Naples-only ACO. If you factor it out, we were paying $44,000 for about 13 hours of coverage each week. There was some complaints that we'd received in the past years regarding responsiveness, accessibility after normal working hours. So the solution we've come up with and what we proposed to both the Budget Committee and the Select Board was a Naples-only solution where that ACO would get paid for a guaranteed 40 hours a week. They'd be scheduled for 25 hours during the week with 15 hours of swing time. That would allow them to be accessible during the weekend and evenings for those emergency calls. And we're absolutely looking for more control over this position so that if there are issues that town residents are having, we have direct access to that employee and we can adjust those hours to best meet the needs of the community. There will be a separate line item. It initially started out in the budget process as part of the TIF budget and the capital improvement budget, but it was pulled out as a separate item. And this is the municipal fiber project. This would connect all municipal offices through Sebago Fiber. We'd get dark fiber connection between all the municipal buildings, which would improve system security, system backups, and system reliability. An added benefit to that is the route would go from the fire station all the way down the 302 and up 11 out to the maintenance department building. By laying this initial foundational piece of network, it would enable businesses and residents alike to then have access to fiber to their home if they so choose. Town's not creating a municipal service. This is a capital investment in the town's infrastructure, but there is an off-script benefit where residents would then also have access to another internet provider to improve their service to their home. Since that went through budget, I was just notified about 3.5 weeks ago through an organization we started working with last year. That organization is a nonprofit. They focus on creating resilient and eco-friendly solutions to municipal projects. They helped us write a grant to the state, and about 3.5 weeks ago I was informed that we received a $75,000 grant towards this project. So the initial project cost was estimated at $220,000. We can now reduce that by 1/3 through use of this grant. If for some reason the town decides they don't want to move forward with the project, then those grant funds cannot be used for anything else. They were solely for this project. But I wanted to make the town aware of this before it went to vote. On the right-hand side of your screen, you'll just see how the budgets break down. We did last year, the municipal budget accounted for nearly 40% of the total budget. This year accounts for 38% of the total budget, with the school budget going up slightly. And then in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see, as I mentioned, the healthcare costs. They continue to go up. We are working, our human resource director is working with an organization that's helping us identify alternate healthcare plans, primarily to continue to provide superior healthcare to our employees, but also look at reducing the costs. I've discussed this with the incoming town manager, and he'll continue to work with the HR director to identify cost savings here in the future. And with that, that's all I had. We can go, I'll turn it back over to Penn to begin the vote.
I have a question, just for clarity. That's 0.18% increase?
Actually, the municipal budget actually went down by 1.1%.
Mill rate, is that point?
Oh, the mill rate, our current mill rate is 9.30. It would go up to 9.48. Now, this is just an estimate because we do have to go.
8% increase, doesn't say percentage.
18 cents.
18 cents.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Yeah, it's an 18-cent increase. We do still have to go through the commitment, and the town assessor will help us determine that final number. Typically, when we go to the mill rate, we round up to the nearest 5 cents, so it would likely finish up at about at 9.5.
Need to come, we're gonna have to come to the, Going to have to come to the mic. I'm sure the last question wasn't heard by the folks over here.
My question was, if this new fiber is adopted, is it going to be buried underground, or is it going on the poles with everything else?
It would go on the poles with everything else.
I have a lot of questions about this fiber company coming. Should I wait till we get to Article 49
Yes, ma'am.
about this? All right, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay. Just a real quick bit of information. There was a question posed about the presentation of the warrant and the first 7 articles, first 9 articles. They are ordinance articles, that sort of article. They are part of the town meeting, but they are a secret ballot requirement, so they are not going to be voted on today. So even though they're presented on the warrant, they will not be voted on until the 20th. May 20th, which is when we have our municipal elections. We'll also take care of other articles like these on that day. I'll mention it again at the end of the meeting, but just a reminder that May 20th from 8 to 8 at the town office, there will be an election, a secret ballot type election, and we urge everybody to show up and bring a friend. Okay, we've dispensed with everything else, so we'll move right to the next warrant article, which is to see if the town will vote to adopt the Maine Moderator's Manual as prepared by the Maine Municipal Association as the parliamentary procedure for the meeting. I've got a copy up here. I need a 2/3 majority on this one. And I need a motion to begin.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the Maine Moderator's Manual. Questions, comments? Another little bit of change is there's going to be, and maybe we're not going to do that now. We're not going to do the timing now. No. So I won't even get into that. So all those in favor, raise your violet tags. And opposed? That it? Okay. It is a vote. Article 12. To see if the town will vote to permit municipal administrative staff, school department administration or staff, and elected state officials who are not residents of Naples to speak as appropriate when recognized by the moderator. Again, it's a 2/3 majority requirement.
So moved. Second.
I have the motion and the second. Anybody questions on this one?
Why would you want non-residents speaking?
If they represent one of the agencies within the town, one of the groups in the town that has information that somebody might want, even though they're not a resident, they work for that agency, for instance. Yep. Anybody else? Call for a vote. All those in favor? And opposed? Abstaining? It's a vote. Article 13. These are business articles. Up to Articles 13 through 24 are business articles. Article 13, to see if the town will vote to fix the date of October 2025 as the date when the first 1/2 of taxes shall be due and payable, with interest on the first installment to start after that date, and the date of April 2026 as the date when the second 1/2 of taxes are due and payable, with interest on the second installment to start after that date, and to see if the town will vote to maintain the 7% annual interest rate on unpaid taxes.
Motion to approve.
I have the motion and the second to approve. Questions, comments? And as always, if I'm going too fast, just raise your hand and we'll slow down and we'll answer any questions or give you a chance to think. So just let me know. Anybody? Okay. All those in favor? And opposed? Abstaining? It's a vote.
Ken?
Yes, Ted.
So the next 10 articles are all business related and typically get passed every year because they have to be. So I'm going to move that we group Article 14 through 24, including 14 and 24, as a block to be passed.
Okay, the motion is to include Articles 14 through 24 inclusive as a block, and we have a second. If anybody wants to discuss any of these articles, we can take it out of the motion. I'm sure the motioner and the seconder will agree to that. Yes?
I want to discuss 22.
22? So we have a request to exclude Article 22 from this block movement. Is that agreeable to everybody, to both of you?
And I have a question on 23, just a question.
22 and 23. 22 and 23 it's been requested that Articles 22 and 23 be excluded from this motion to include all these articles as a block.
'Cause I have
And the
questions.
motioners have agreed. So we're all set. So, anybody else? Okay, all those in favor of grouping the articles except for 22 and 23 as a block, raise your hands. And opposed? It's a vote. All right, now we need to consider Articles 22 and 23 separately. Article 22, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to retain, sell, or dispose of, in accordance with Maine State Statute 36 MRS 943-C, any real estate acquired by the town for the non-payment of taxes thereon, and to execute such contracts, deeds, and other instruments. Need a motion? The motion and the second. Yes.
Okay, and can we talk about it now?
Now's the time.
Is this time? Okay. I don't understand it. And I'm wondering is this new? Is this Article 22 new?
No.
That the town was able to take property for non-payment of taxes. How does that work?
So when a property owner fails to pay their taxes after 18 months of non-payment and through the lien process, it can enter into foreclosure. And when the town chooses to foreclose on a property, we can then move forward and sell the property. There was a law passed in 2022 that prevents municipalities from profiting from the sale of a foreclosed property. So how that would work is, say we foreclosed on someone's property for unpaid taxes of, let's say, $20,000. The town moves forward and sells the property. The residual profit from the sale of that property, let's say it was $100,000 after all the fees and everything were paid. That $100,000 would have to go back to the property owner or their rightful heirs. If neither of those are available or state claim to it, then those funds would then go back to the state. The towns can no longer profit from the sale of a foreclosed property.
Has this happened already to people in Naples?
Not since I've been here. I've been working with residents that did have back taxes and working with the select board. This past year, for example, I worked with several residents that were in a situation. We established payment plans for some of them that would allow them to come current on their taxes. And in some cases where they couldn't and they were planning to sell their home, all they had to do was show us the agreement they had with their realtor, and then we signed an agreement that once the property was sold, back taxes would be made good with the town, and they would then retain any of the profits from the sale.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to know, that you do work with people first before you take their property away from them and make them homeless.
Absolutely, yeah. We're not in the
Okay.
business of, putting people out of their homes. We definitely
Okay.
would like to keep them in their homes if that's what they want.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. I guess this Maine State Statute 36 MRS 943-C supports what this is saying.
Yes, ma'am.
That's just the way the state talks about it. Okay. All right, thank you.
And we'd like to have everybody who comes to the mic identify themselves, please.
Okay, Carol Sterling. I've been a resident of Naples for 32 years.
Thank you. Yes, it's not because we don't know you. It's okay, anybody else on this one? Seeing no one, all those in favor? And opposed? Abstentions? It's a vote. And very quickly, I'm going to go back because I'm not sure that we have actually done it. I'm going to call for a vote on approving the articles. We approved to group the articles as a block, but I don't think we voted on the articles themselves. So I'm just going to call for that vote now. All those in favor of approving all those articles as a block? The first vote was to make the block. This is to approve it. Opposed? Abstentions? That one's a vote. Okay, Article 23. To see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to execute and deliver release deeds at their discretion to remove from the public record tax lien certificates that have not been discharged through inadvertence. I have the motion and the second to approve. Yes? We remember you.
I'm sorry, I don't know when to jump up and ask for discussion. Is it
right
before,
now.
or right now?
Once,
Okay.
yep, once the motion and the second have been lodged, that's discussion time.
Forgive my ignorance. I don't understand what release deeds are, and I don't understand what tax lien certificates are. So I don't understand the whole thing. Could somebody explain this?
Yes, ma'am, and I got Michelle to my right here, our tax collector, if I speak out of school here.
I think, Jason, I think that needs to get a little closer to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
That any better?
Yes.
Okay, so in the event that a property goes into a lien status due to unpaid taxes, say it's in a lien status, then the resident comes in and pays the back taxes, and the lien can be lifted. We have to file paperwork with the state or with the county that says this property is no longer in a lien status, and the select board has the authority to sign off on those. So it's just a matter of releasing a lien after a lien has already been placed on a property once it's been satisfied.
These are really rough times for people economically, and I'm just wondering what happens to people that cannot pay their taxes. Are they doomed?
Yeah, go ahead.
Carol, can you hear me okay, everybody?
Maybe I have problems with my ears.
That's okay.
My eyes, I'm an old lady.
So there are quite a few programs with the state of Maine. Anything that the town of Naples does follow is all state statute. So as Naples, we're not just saying because they don't do this, we're going to take their property because that's what Naples wants. It's the state that we're following the laws for the lien process and the foreclosure process. With that being said, the state of Maine has tax deferral programs, we have poverty abatements, we have several other things that we work with residents. But if they can't just pay their taxes, we do offer all avenues for them to go before, we have lots of things to offer to them.
Okay, thank you, that's good to know.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing no one, I'll call for a vote. All those, we do? Yeah, please.
I'm Robert Eddy, I live in Naples. The question I got is there any other option for a landowner? Like if my neighbor Joe can't pay his taxes, I didn't know that, I'd gladly give him the money for it. Is there other options that the town can know about to help his neighbors? Well, if I don't know my neighbor Joe is having a hard time paying his taxes, all of a sudden the town takes his property, I would have gladly given him the money for it.
So our town report does have a list of everybody who is in lien status, and that's produced every single year.
Okay.
Of who and how many years they have been in lien status. But taxes are public knowledge, so anybody can know whether taxes are paid or not. As far as you not knowing that your neighbor isn't paying their taxes, I guess the only thing that you would be able to know by is if they were in the town report or if you had questioned that.
Well, I'm quite sure, I mean, everybody's neighbors would probably help their neighbors, I'm sure of it, you know.
And anybody can pay anybody's taxes, but it's just, and there is a process that we have to go through. They get a 30-day notice, then it's liens, and then it can be in a lien status until they're released, and then we release it from the registry. So there are different steps and certified letters and stuff that go out to make sure that they're well informed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anybody else? Seeing no one, all those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? It's a vote. And with that, we move to the budget articles. Yes. Yes, we did. Article 25. To see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $376,975 for capital reserve accounts with unexpended funds carrying forward into the next fiscal year, being assigned to their respective accounts as listed. And you see the list there.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve and second. Question, Larry?
Yes, I'm just wondering why the causeway improvement funds don't come from the TIF.
So TIF funds are limited in what we can spend it on and where we can spend it. So capital improvements are funded separately, and there is a separate line item for TIF investment, or TIF expenditures as well.
Carol?
Yeah, just two questions. Well, three actually. I don't understand what compensated absences are. And the second one is the same, and it says FICA Medi. What is that, and what is Cascade System Replacement?
So compensated absences are when someone leaves their employment with the town and we have to pay out vacation or things like that. It comes out of that, so it doesn't come out of the payroll or operating budget for that department. So say someone leaves and they have 50 hours left on the books in vacation time, we have a requirement to pay them for that, so it would come out of this amount. And there is, because it is a payroll item, that we have to include FICA and paid family medical leave as part of that compensation. So that's why those are in there. And then the Cascade system, that's the brand name for the system that supplies the air, the compressed air for the firefighters' breathing apparatus. And we're looking to replace that this year.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing no one, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? It's a vote. Article 26. Reassign Causeway Bathroom Facility Capital Reserve Funds to a new reserve account to support cleanup activities associated with the Property Maintenance Ordinance.
Motion to approve.
The article is on the floor.
Sorry, me again, but what and where is the Causeway Bathroom Facility?
So this was a project that was identified a few years back. The goal was put some reserve funds aside in the event that we could identify a location somewhere near the causeway where we could put in a public restroom. This has not gained any traction in recent years. So rather than allow the money to continue to sit in a reserve account where we don't have a really foreseeable timeline for executing those funds, we're asking to reassign those funds to this property ordinance line. Back in November, the town voted to adopt a new ordinance for property maintenance standards. And the way that ordinance reads is a resident who is not maintaining their property where it's creating a health issue, the resident would be given notice that they need to clean up their property. If for some reason they're unable to or unwilling, and the town has to move in and clean up the property, that'll cost money. So we need to be able to have some way to fund that cleanup should we encounter one of those situations.
How come this Causeway Bathroom Facility did not gain traction? It sounds like you need it. You need it down there.
We have very limited real estate on the causeway to put a bathroom in. So we just have not been able to identify an agreement with either a landowner or town-owned property where we could put one.
Not that I like them, but are porta potties an option?
So
Especially in the summer when there's so many people here?
So we do already have porta potties. We contract for 7 of them each season, and they're placed throughout the causeway area as well as Kent's Landing.
Oh, okay. I have never seen one, I guess. All right.
Yep, well, that's good. I'm glad you're not seeing it.
Me too. Thank you.
Kevin?
Kevin Rogers. I'd like to point out that this money is going into reserves for future opportunities. Us moving it out of there is leaving us at zero again for if an opportunity comes along. and we're starting from scratch. This is an ongoing issue with Naples, public bathrooms. There are ideas and options. We have to be creative perhaps with portable, those high-end porta potties now or something, but moving out our reserve is just, we're shooting ourselves in the foot by doing that.
Anybody else? Ellen?
Ellen Fogg, and I just want to say that I agree with Kevin on that, because having bathrooms on the causeway is so important, and just having the porta potties, I'm not going in one. I'd rather go behind a bush, okay, truly. I really think that we do need to have money in a reserve for bathrooms, be they, if you go down to Ogunquit to the Playhouse, they've got a very nice setup for portable porta potties. I mean, there's a way we could do it. I don't think we should move this money from this account. It should be an account we're contributing to for now and the future. We are a tourist town.
Thank you.
Samantha Hayes. I just wanted to point out that directly underneath this it says Select Board 600 and Budget Committee 600. Just wanted to re-point out that we all voted that this was a good idea.
Sean Crisco, Naples. A question: how much is in that account, and is it even enough to get something off the ground? Is it worth keeping in there with the uptick of pricing? I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so there's $25,000 in that account. It is a reserve account, so it carries over year to year. It was not funded last year. There was just the balance was carried forward from the previous year. And as far as questions whether or not that's enough, that would get us a septic design, and that's really about it. Once we went into the build out and a bathhouse, it would be definitely a lot more than the $25,000.
And anybody else?
Hi, Jocelyn O'Rourke Shane. So there is a major concern with no bathrooms on the causeway. And I think that the town of Naples has missed out on a couple great opportunities to be able to put bathrooms there. But with no money saved in reserves, I think that kind of puts it at a tough place. So, I mean, I think that we should be looking, like Kevin said, to leave money in a reserve so that we have, when we do get an option, we have money sitting there to say to the townspeople, we have this money sitting here, we can jump on this option now. So I guess, you know, it is a huge issue. There are, you know, like Mrs. Fogg said, she would rather go behind a bush, and that's what's happening on the causeway. And talking to local business owners, they, you know, people are going to the bathroom behind their buildings, and it's disgusting. So I think the town really needs to look at putting money into reserves for a future option. Like back, I want to say 4 years ago, the little building on the causeway sold for $270,000, and that was, you know, the lighthouse. Like, what an opportunity that would have been to have the bathroom sitting right there, you know, and it would look cute, you know. So I really think this town needs to look into putting money in reserves for that specific reason, because it's an issue. So, thank you.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of this article? All those opposed? I think that one's close enough. We're going to have a count. I'm not comfortable estimating that one. So what we're going to do is I'm going to call for the votes in favor again. You'll have to hold your hand up while you're being counted. We'll make a tally up here, then I'll ask for those opposed. We'll do the same thing, and we'll find out in an actual count. All right, so all those in favor of this article, and hold your hands up until I get the okay that everything's counted. Yep, go ahead. I got 13, I got 12. 13 on the left, 12 here. None on this side. All those opposed? Middle? Kaylee? How many? 11? 15? 33, 43, 48. Okay, anybody is more than welcome to challenge my math, but according to what I figure, Article 26 is defeated by a vote of 26 yes, 48 no.
Good.
It's a vote. Article 27.
I'm sorry,
Yep.
maybe I didn't follow this correctly. So what does that mean, since it's a no vote? What does that mean? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Funds are going to remain in the Causeway Bathroom Capital Improvement Account, and they will not be moved over to the property cleanup account.
Okay, so how and when will it be acted upon so we can get bathrooms down?
It,
Won't until we find a spot for them to go, until we find somewhere we can put bathrooms, it will just sit.
Okay, all right, I get it now, thank you.
Add more money to it, it needs to be done.
Not something we can do here. Article 27, to see if the town will vote to appropriate funds from the unassigned fund balance to fund $103,160 for capital improvements.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Questions, comments?
What capital improvements, can you name some?
one second. All right, so some of the capital improvements that were listed in the budget were senior center repairs, parks and land use, cemetery committee and cemetery improvements. This includes things like maintenance and cemetery, maintenance of the cemetery database, ball field restrooms, the open spaces and parks, that's maintaining the various trails and trash cleanup in various areas throughout the town, town offices and upkeep, as well as the Sebago fire, correction, that was pulled out. So just those items I listed.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? It's a vote. Article 28, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $485,000 for TIF-funded projects and services and fund $194,454 in the projects from the existing TIF balance.
So moved.
Motion and second on the floor. Questions, comments?
Sorry to hold things up, I don't mean to, but I don't get a lot of this stuff. What is tax increment financing? Can you explain that, please, and tell us why it's good for Naples? And what projects and services, what projects is it going to serve?
Okay, so tax increment financing is a way that towns can capture additional tax dollars by freezing the assessed property value in a designated district. So in the town of Naples, we have two TIF districts. We have a village district that goes from about the fire station to Gary's Tavern. And then we have a 302 district, which goes from about where Gary's is all the way out to the just past the Big Apple and a little bit up Route 11. What happened was back in about 2006, we took the property values at that time, and those property values were frozen as far as tax purposes go. So every year when those property values get assessed at a higher rate, that does not go into the tax valuation. So that aligns with how much we're going to have to pay in county taxes and how much we have to pay in school taxes. So we are allowed to capture those funds and use them for economic and public good. So the goal of a TIF is to allow a town to capture more monies without putting more of a tax burden on the residents to improve the economic infrastructure of the town. So there are about 9 different areas where we can spend TIF dollars. In the past, we've used them, we've taken bonds out and we pay them out of the TIF funds. Right now, our tax obligations for TIF, our debt obligations for TIF are about $345,000, just based on bonds we've taken against that TIF account in previous years. So by capturing these funds here, it allows us to continue to fund the TIF account and support projects that are funded out of it.
Okay, I'm not a financial person, so that's kind of over my head, but thank you for the explanation. Does anybody else get that? You do, okay.
yeah.
I'm a medical person, not a
That's
financial.
all right.
Okay,
Please just keep your questions to the,
okay.
yeah.
All right. So what projects and services?
So some of the projects that are listed are 4th of July expenses. So every year it costs about $15,000 for the fireworks. We have to pay for the police officers to be here, clean up, things like that. So that's funded out of TIF. Bands and concerts, events that happen through either the events committee or the bands that happen or on the village green. Causeway maintenance and improvements. The information center, that is funded out of the TIF budget. Causeway mowing and cleaning, as well as law enforcement services we use throughout the year. That's our summer law enforcement officers, so that gets paid for out of TIF as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? All those in favor of Article 28? And opposed? Abstentions? It's a vote. Article 29, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $98,145 for assessing.
So moved.
Motion and a second?
Question.
Yep.
Assessing what?
So every year people's property values are determined through assessing. So we pay an assessing firm, which is John O'Donnell and Associates, and that's their annual contract fee.
Okay, I get it, thank you.
Anybody else? All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? It's a vote. The next two articles, Article 30 and Article 31, there is one dissenting vote from the Budget Committee in both of those, just so you're aware. Article 30, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $579,886 for administration.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Questions, comments?
I'm going to use the administration portion of this budget.
Excuse me, who are you, sir?
James Gratello, former chair of the select board, 9 years member on the budget committee. I don't want to walk up here for the next 7 articles, so I'm just going to say an overview once, which applies to all 7 articles. In the last 3 years, since I left this stage, this budget has increased $3 million. We all know that expenses have gone up across the country and budgets have gone up. However, the payroll portion of this budget has gone up $500,000 in those 3 years. The head count in the town of Naples for employees has gone up by 7.5. My overall concern, I understand that budgets go up. My overall concern is over the last 3 years during all this increase in spending, increase in payroll, services have gone down. Town hall used to be open 5 days a week. Now it's only open 4 days a week. Town hall used to be open on Thursday nights for people who worked late. Town hall is no longer open on Thursday nights. Town hall used to be open every other Saturday year round. Town hall is now only open 12 Saturdays in the course of a year. My biggest problem with this is if we're going to live with a $3 million increase, if we're going to live with 7 additional employees, we can be open 5 days a week. Now, there is no reason why we still cannot have a 4-day work week for the employees. With this new additional headcount, every single department has the duplication necessary to open 5 days a week. We have 4 people in the clerk's office. We now have 2 code enforcement officers, and the list goes on and on. So I want to make a quick observation. I was going to make a series of amendments tonight, but I watched what just happened with this vote because we're not using secret ballot. We're using cards. If you remember, we just voted to fund or not fund the bathrooms. The vote was so close on the first time that Penn had to call for a count because he couldn't tell. Several people who looked at their neighbors changed their vote when the second count took place, and all of a sudden it was 2/3 against, 1/3 for. So I'm not going to put the people in this room through what I was going to do today and make a series of motions to cut, because it doesn't work in a town meeting when you're looking at your neighbors. That's why we switched 3 years ago to a private vote. So keep that in mind. I'm going to mention, again, I asked the town council, the select board, a month ago. I'm going to bring it up again Monday night. They need to weigh in on where they stand on opening town hall 5 days a week, because there's no reason why it shouldn't be. We have the staff to do it. And if not, then I will bring this up at another meeting, and the citizens can decide whether they want their town open 5 days a week. Thank you.
Larry?
What happens if this gets defeated in terms of funding the administration? Do we have to have another meeting?
Yes, any budgetary line items that are defeated that are tied to funding, we would have to have a second special town meeting to readdress those articles and go for a second vote. In that interim period between a special town meeting and this town meeting, we would continue to operate under the previous year's budget.
Anybody else? Before I call for a vote. Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? I rule the article passed. It's a vote. Article 31, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $410,079 for clerk tax collector. Motion and the second are on the floor. Questions or comments?
I think an explanation's good.
So, an explanation has been called for, an explanation of Article 31.
So the Article 31 is the clerk and tax collector budget. That is for the operating costs associated with the clerks and tax collection operations, everything from salaries, benefits, operating costs for attorney fees, mailings, elections, various items like that that are required for the yearly operations.
Anyone? Yes, Marie.
Marie Karen. Just a quick question. So this was pulled out of the administration budget how many years ago?
It was pulled out last year.
Interesting. Thank you.
And anyone else? Seeing no one, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? It's a vote. Article 32, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $19,284 for boards and committee. We have the motion and the second. Anybody? Seeing no one, all those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? It's a vote. Article 33, there is one dissension on the Budget Committee on this one. To see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $404,798 for code enforcement and planning. Motion and the second are on the floor. Do we have questions or comments? Jim?
I voted against this. I'm the one who voted against it, but this is how it should work, and now I'm in favor of it. We have two code enforcement officers. One is working on Monday, one is working on Friday. That's the way it should work, and I support this.
Yes.
The word planning,
And you are, sir?
I'm Ed Cash. The word planning, I think, is misleading. I don't see any planning on whether we should have a new fire station within 5 years or something else in 10 years, or new maintenance department in 20 years. Where's the planning? Just in ordinances?
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Cash, as you know, up until last year, we outsourced our planning. It was contracted, and that contracted service was predominantly a reactive service. They did what we asked. There really was no forecasting for planning. Less than a year ago, we did hire a municipal planner, and she's been doing an outstanding job getting her head wrapped around just the ordinances and the day-to-day running of that department, and getting everything through planning board, and working with the code enforcement office. She does have a directive to move forward here in the coming years to look out that 5-10-year plan as to what's going to be required for our municipal infrastructure. You're exactly right. The fire station, its shelf life, don't know, it's not that long. The town offices, probably the same. It was when the schools left the town office, they left it when they felt it had reached the end of its serviceable life. We've taken it over, and there's probably maybe 10, 15 years at best left on that building, so we do need to look at what's going to be the cost of replacing it, where would things go, and how are we going to fund it. So she'll be working with the planning board as well as the select board and the town manager to figure out where we want to put things and how we're going to fund it.
My own opinion, some of the things that need to be planned are going to cost us a lot more money than ordinances.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing no one, all those in favor? All those opposed? And abstentions? It's a vote. Article 34, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation $345,337 and appropriate from the Town of Naples Downtown and Waterfront Tax Increment Financing District Development Program Fund for TIF-funded debt. I have the motion and the second.
Can you explain that one, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So TIF-funded debt services in previous years, we have taken loans with an agreement to pay it out of the TIF account. Some of those debts include the intersection improvements at 302 and 35, the water tank project that took place up behind the fire station, as well as a multi-year bond. This was for paving, marine safety building roof repair, salt shed repairs, and crosswalk signals. So all that debt servicing, just our annual principal and interest payments come out to $345,337.
Anything further? All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? It's a vote. Article 35, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $593,811 for town maintenance.
Second.
And I neglected to mention there were 2 abstentions from the Budget Committee on this one. Questions and comments?
Ellen Fogg again, Eads Falls. Question, will some of this money go towards taking care of our Eads Falls Bridge? And that bridge is looking pretty pathetic. The walls of it are going out like this rather than upright. It needs more than a coat of paint.
Yes, so we are working with Maine DOT on that bridge to see exactly what can and needs to be done to that bridge. So it wouldn't be anything this year. Usually their planning cycle is about 2 to 3 years. So we will be working with that in the coming months.
Are we gonna have it painted this year?
I will talk with the maintenance department, see what we can do about that.
We don't own it?
Yeah, but
we might be able to paint it?
we can probably touch it up. If it's anything beyond more than a touch-up or a coat of paint, then we have to go out to the state, because it's, to spend taxpayer money or municipal taxpayer money on what is supposed to be maintained by the state, I would prefer not to do that.
I didn't realize that the state owned the bridge.
Yeah, they own the bridge.
I'm kinda glad. So, okay, thank you.
And just informational, Ellen, I was driving over the bridge the other day, and there were 2 representatives from DOT there looking at the bridge. So, who knows?
I'm just curious, are there projects that they have planned for this town maintenance article?
This is just the annual operating budget, everything they do throughout the year.
They decide? Okay, all right.
And anybody else? All those in favor? And opposed? And abstentions? It's a vote. Article 36, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $11,000 for general assistance.
So moved.
What constitutes general assistance?
So this is the town's general assistance program that is also managed through the county. So last year we contracted with the county. They send a representative over 1 day a week to assist residents with any of their general assistance needs. If they're having issues with home heating oil, can't pay an electric bill, things like that, they go through a detailed process of determining need. And if they qualify, they can then get general assistance funds to help them with a short-term need. We also have an option if they don't meet that threshold with the county, then we can go ahead and, specifically for heating fuel, we can provide assistance, as we have a separate fund of about $9,000 that has been gathered through donations over the years that we can help where the state can't. The general assistance process, for every dollar we give out, the state refunds us 70 cents of that. So we've had a pretty big uptick this past winter. It was pretty cold. So a lot of folks coming in for home heating and electric assistance.
How do residents do that? Do they notify the town that they have this need?
So on our town website, you can go to the general assistance link, and it tells the hours that the county rep is available in the town each week, and they can come in. They can either call the general assistance line, or they can come in and meet with the general assistance representative, and they'll walk them through the necessary paperwork to apply.
Is there anything besides fuel that would constitute general assistance?
I mean, it's really based on financial needs. So if it has to deal with your ability to keep a roof over your head and stay warm, that's the general threshold for assistance.
Okay.
So we've helped people replace, through general assistance, people have had some pipes replaced in their home if they had a pipe burst. If their electric wasn't threatening to be turned off, we've helped them, get their electric brought current, or at least allow them to keep it on, give them maybe 30 days so they can come up with the additional funds to bring their bill current.
This is new to me. I didn't know this existed. Not that I need it at this point in my life, but how do, again, people, if they need assistance, they just call out, let the town know? What's the process?
Yeah, so generally speaking, they just come to the town office and talk to the clerk, and one of our clerks can give them the information necessary to communicate with the general assistance officer.
Okay. Do people know that in general?
Yes.
Okay, it's just new to me then. Thank you.
Anyone else? All those in favor? And opposed? Abstentions? It's a vote. Article 37, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $626,138 for sanitation.
So moved. Second.
Motion and the second are out. Questions or comments? All those in favor? And opposed? And abstentions? It's a vote. Article 38, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $1,479,231 for fire and rescue department.
So moved.
There was one dissenting vote from the Budget Committee and one abstention. I heard a second. Yep. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? And abstentions? It's a vote. Article 39, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $64,696 for marine safety.
So moved.
Anybody with a question, comment? All those in favor? All those opposed? And abstentions? It's a vote. Article 40, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $34,444 for dispatch.
So moved.
We have the motion and the second. Anybody? All those in favor? All those opposed? And abstentions? It's a vote. Article 41, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $93,357 for animal control. There was one dissenting vote from the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
I have the motion and the second. Yep.
Hi, my name is Bruce Witz. I'm president of Tricky Pond Camp and Homeowners Association on Tricky Pond. During the summertime, I don't think we're any unique than a lot of associations. There are literally as many dogs on the road as there are people. I'm stating that as an exaggeration for an effect. We have, and members of our associations, we've had the typical barking dogs. We've had dogs that aren't under control. We've had dog bites. We've had dog attacks. We have called this service. We don't even get a return phone call. This feels to me like we're extending a bad service. We're funding a bad service. How is this going to get any better? And I'm not exaggerating, not one returned call.
Yes, sir. This is exactly why the select board wanted to pursue and go to town vote with a Naples-only solution. So rather than sharing a single animal control officer, which is required by the state, rather than sharing that between 3 towns and getting 1/3 of the paid service, having a Naples-only solution where that animal control officer is now dedicated only to the town of Naples. We went with a hybrid workday, as mentioned early on, where they would have 25 hours of regularly scheduled work and then 15 hours of flex work each week so they can respond to calls. I completely agree. The chief complaint I've received in the last 19 months has been, I don't get a call back. It might be days before I get a call back if I get one at all. So that'll be a primary part of my interview process when reviewing applications is there's a clear understanding that you're returning phone calls the same day or the next business day immediately following. I agree, you need a phone call at a minimum.
So if it turns out that this service wasn't worth the money, how would we know? When would we know? What would be the triggers?
So as far as worth the money, I think as we adopt a Naples-only solution, we'd have to listen to the community, and if the community is not getting the service that they expect, then we'd have to look at the job description. By having an employee just in Naples, we'd have more control over that employee's response. And if they weren't performing to our standard, then we could absolutely look to either get a different person in there, rescope the job. Right now with this budget, we're offering a base salary or base hourly rate of $20.20 an hour, which is below the standard, I shouldn't say the standard, below the average that an animal control officer gets paid in the state of Maine. However, we think we're offsetting that with a combination of benefits and the flexible work schedule. So I think if we find the right candidate, right now I have 5 applicants. So I'm fairly certain we'll be able to find the right person to fit this. But feedback from the community is going to be important. Like with any organization, that's the only way you can improve.
Okay, so if we're dissatisfied with the response of the service, I can call the town?
Absolutely. The animal control officer will work directly. His or her direct report will be to the town manager. So if you get an issue with the animal control officer, the town manager is the person you should be calling.
Okay, thank you.
Jim?
You're not exaggerating at all. This service has been atrocious. It's been horrible. Anyone who owns an animal, the town of Naples knows, you do not get a phone call back. You do not get an answer to your phone call. You do not get a solution to your problem. Everyone knows here I'm a budget hawk. I don't like spending money. And here we are spending 3 times what we're spending now. But we have to. We have no choice. People today are having animals more than they're having kids. They treat their animals like humans, like they're kids of their own. And we have to solve this problem. We're better off having nothing, than what we have right now. Because what we have right now frustrates the entire town and everybody in it. We've been dealing with this for 3 years, and finally, we're going to take it on ourselves as a town, and we're going to do it right. So the number's going to be published, just like the harbor master's number's published. You got a problem, you can call their cell phone. This number was unpublished. You could not get a hold of this person. So I know we're spending more money, and I don't like it any more than anybody else, but this is the right decision for the town of Naples. Thank you.
Ed?
I used it, and I got a phone call from Cumberland County Dispatch. Not from they said wasn't going to happen.
Charlie?
My name's Charles Hanley. I have a question on the new agreement. You come up with a new agreement with the animal control officer. Will they go into an association, or will they consider that private property and they consider that not their responsibility to go in there, the association, to take care of that?
So, similar to code enforcement, if the association has a regulation on animals that is above and beyond what the state requires, say, and again, I'm just using this as an example, say the association required that every dog wear a pink collar. We're not going to go and enforce, well, your dog's not wearing a pink collar, because that's not a state, it's not a state law. But as far as the area of responsibility for the animal control officer, it'll be the entire town of Naples.
Thank you.
Anything further? I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? And abstentions? It's a vote. Article 42, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation $25,000 for unanticipated expenses.
So moved. Second.
I have the motion and the second. All those in favor? And opposed? And abstentions? It's a vote. Article 43, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $49,662 for general obligation debt.
So moved.
Questions or comments on Article 43?
Yeah, What is general obligation debt?
So this is any debt that the town has that we've either borrowed money for in the past, outside of, because we do borrow, I spoke previously about the TIF debt, debts that we financed through the TIF budget. There are other debts that were not financed through there that we have to pay, and I will give you an example of some of those. Specifically, we've got one debt item, which was when we made the Kent's Landing land purchase. Principal and interest payments for that debt are $49,662. That's what this is paying for.
Okay, all right, thanks.
And anyone else? All those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstaining? It's a vote. Article 44, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $740,964 for roads and highways. There were 2 abstentions on the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Hi, Tom Johnson. Can you give a little explanation about the article, please?
So this budget line item funds things such as road grading, causeway road striping, street sweeping, crack sealing, signs, ditching and shouldering services, snow removal, which is contracted out, salt and sand purchases, covers those items to maintain our town roads.
Yep, Marie.
Marie Karen, just a quick question. Why is paving not in this budget now?
Paving is covered under the roads budget line item.
Anyone else? All those in favor? And opposed? And abstaining? It's a vote. Article 45, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $346,724 for recreation.
So moved. Second.
Have the motion and the second. Do we have any discussion, comments, questions?
Yes, explain it, please.
Have an explanation, request?
All right, so the recreation budget covers the salaries for the recreation director and the programmer. The programmer also fulfills the role as the assistant summer camp director. This covers the computer upgrades, seminars and training, recreational field maintenance, which was in the previous years under this article. That's been moved over to the maintenance department. It covers telephone services, consumable supplies, vehicle fuel, property insurance, aerobics classes, basketball, football, amusement tickets, baseball and softball, senior trips and events, soccer, various community events such as Halloween, the holiday tree lighting, spring celebration, community cleanup, and it also covers program expenses for summer camp. Those are the main items out of that recreation budget.
Anybody else? All those in favor? All those opposed? And abstentions? It's a vote. Article 46, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $113,000 for community groups and events. They're listed.
So moved. Second.
Have the motion and the second.
Just a question again. Who determines what, I don't know what to call them, what groups get this?
So community groups are notified prior to the budget season to submit a request for funds, and then they have to appear before the budget committee and state why those funds are needed and how they will be used to better to benefit the residents of Naples. Based on their presentations, the budget committee makes their recommendations to the select board, and the select board then votes on them and it makes its way to the warrant.
Okay, so it could be different groups every year?
Yes, ma'am.
Depending upon who who does it? And who determines the amount that they get? The board?
Also, the Budget Committee will make their recommendations. Often, we had, for example, we had one organization come in and requested a $10,000 amount. The Budget Committee reviewed their presentation, reviewed their request and the overall benefit to the town, and they recommended an amount lesser than the $10,000 requested. So it's not, you ask for 10,000, you get 10,000. They do thoughtfully consider each one of the requests.
Okay. Another question, is there a VFW anymore in Naples?
There is not. The nearest VFW, last count, I'm a lifetime member. It was 7 members of the VFW chapter in Harrison. And they used to have what is now the Harrison Food Pantry, or the Harrison Food Bank. That used to be their building. VFW donated it to the pantry. In exchange for that, they have a small room where they can meet monthly.
Huh. My husband was a Vietnam vet, and he used to stand out in the rain in front of Tony's for years to collect money from poppy sales. So they don't do that anymore.
Not the VFW, no, ma'am.
We do it as the American Legion, ma'am. And if you'd like to speak to me after, I can assist you with other things.
I guess a lot of the VFW fellows were World War II vets, and a lot of them have passed on. I'm sorry to hear that, because I would have liked to have had the VFW as part of this. Okay, all right, thank you.
Charlie?
Joe, could you please explain what is the Muddy River? Snow seekers?
So they're a snowmobile club?
Excuse me?
They're a snowmobile club?
All right, I was just wondering.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm going to give you my new name, because you know me as Priscilla Kyle, but it's Priscilla Campbell now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a sore spot with me, and I know I've come to you at different times, and you've awarded me, the town has awarded me money. But why is it Naples Library, they increase what they want every year? I'd like to know, that's almost $100,000. What are they doing? I realize they gotta buy books, and I realize they gotta heat the place, but it's not even open 5 days a week. And that really bothers me. $100,000, unreal.
Yeah. So the Naples Library, it is not a town-owned entity. They are a private organization. They do have an endowment that allows them to draw on for operating costs. The $95,000 we spend for the service that they provide is a very, very small amount. If we were to, for example, if the town was to own the library, the operating costs for the building, employees, and all the other various services provided by a library, that cost would easily be over $500,000 a year in a budget. So it's a very small expense. I have worked with the board at the library. We had a couple instances this past summer and the winter prior where they've agreed to open as a warming center and as a cooling center. They have internet access, very comfortable environment. You can read a book, you can get on the internet. They offer several community rooms where community groups can get together. So they are de facto the community center for many services for residents. So for everything they provide for the town, I think it's a small investment or a small contribution for that service. If residents are interested in modifying their operating hours or getting additional services, I would encourage you to reach out to the board for the library and bring that to their attention so they can address them.
Anyone else? We're on Article 46. All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? It's a vote. Article 47, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $72,194 for outside agencies.
So moved. Second.
Motion and the second.
I've got a question about the same thing. Who decides how these outside agencies, that they're going to be, I'm sorry?
Yeah, same process. They appear before the Budget Committee with their request, and then the Budget Committee thoughtfully considers those. Again, it's not if they ask for a certain amount, doesn't mean that's what they're going to get. The Budget Committee will look at their various constraints each budget year, make those recommendations to the Select Board, and then it'll come to the town.
Okay. Why does Northern Light Health get $1,000 from us? And why does Northern Light Home Care and Hospice get $1,000 from us? In my opinion, Northern Light Health overcharges all of us for medical services, that to the point where our insurance doesn't even cover it. And if we want the service, if we need the service, we're left with paying them.
Yeah, so
I don't think they deserve $2,000 of our hard-earned tax money. And I would much rather see it go to, let's get creative. Maybe a fund that, there are people dying in Naples who are probably on hospice. Could it go to a local fund where people could apply to pay for hospice relief or certain medical expenses? Is that even a possibility?
So, I like to think every problem has a solution and anything's possible. I just don't think this is the venue where we could really hash that out. It would have to be thoughtfully, developed and brought before the Budget Committee next year or during a future budget process where we could look at that option. But these organizations, when they ask for these funds, these are relatively small amounts. Obviously, they're not going to offset insurance costs or direct service. This more or less goes to marketing and awareness campaigns so that folks are aware of the services they provide to help offset some of their budget items, but it does not contribute directly to offsetting insurance costs for individual care.
So if I wanted to get creative, and who would I go to? Like the Budget Committee, to see if that's something that they could do for the people of Naples?
So the Budget Committee, it's not part of their bylaws to formulate budget plans or budget line items. Their job is to review and consider budget proposals. So if you wanted to bring a budget proposal to the Budget Committee and say, for example, I would like to set aside $25,000 to help those that are in financial need offset their hospice care costs, and this is how I suggest we go about it, and this is how much it would cost, then they could consider that proposal, and that could potentially be incorporated in a future budget.
And when would I do that?
So the Budget Committee is available year-round. They're multi-year elected personnel on that staff or on that committee, so you can reach out to them any time of year.
Okay, great. So I'm assuming this is set in stone for this year, for Northern Light Health and all these organizations.
That's what's being proposed for the vote here, yes, ma'am.
So we can't change that?
You can, so at this meeting, you can only reduce, you can't increase. So if the vote was, if there was a motion to approve but reduce any particular line item, you could make that motion, but you cannot increase or add a line item.
You can amend down only. You can't increase.
In money, in
Yes,
finances?
yes.
Okay. Do I make that now, that
If you were going to
request?
suggest an amendment, now would be the time, yes.
I don't know how everybody else feels, but I don't think we should give Northern Light, a multi-billion-dollar corporation, anything. I can't hear you.
You are more than welcome to make a motion to decrease a value, and then we can see we can take a vote on that amended motion. And if that doesn't pass, then we're gonna continue to run it as the way it is, but if it passes, then we could pass it as a reduction.
Well, what do you suggest? How much do you suggest?
We don't suggest, Carol. It's up to you.
Okay, I suggest zero for that.
So are you offering an amendment to reduce Northern Lights
To zero.
Health to zero?
I don't think they deserve it.
Okay. All right, and you had mentioned, are there two items referring to Northern Lights?
It was Northern Light Home Care and Hospice and Northern Light Health.
Okay,
The rest of them are fine.
Those two,
Correct,
or just the Northern Lights Health?
both of them.
Both. So you want to reduce both those values to
Yes.
zero?
I think $2,000 could go to any, they could be divvied
Well,
up
we
to the
can't-
rest of them.
No, we can't do that either, but we can
Okay.
reduce it. We can, if the amendment were to be approved, we can do that.
Okay.
So are you would like to amend this motion?
Yes.
To reduce those two to zero?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a second for that motion?
Second it.
And a second. Okay, so the motion is to reduce Northern Light Health and Northern Light Home Care and Hospice values to zero. Each one was $1,000. Questions or comments on this motion to amend? Ted?
By doing that, Penn, you're asking the taxpayers to approve $70,194. Is that correct?
It will reduce the total value of $72,000 by $2,000.
Correct.
The motion is to amend. Yeah,
I just wanted to shed some light.
identify.
I'm Samantha Hayes. I'm the vice chair on the budget committee. We went through this pretty extensively. We went back and forth on all of these items. All the videos are online if anyone wants to see them and see what we were talking about, the details. Just to shed a little bit more light on this, specifically Northern Light Home Care and Hospice for Naples alone. They had 26 patients. They did 179 home visits. And they estimated that their value for services here in Naples only, nowhere else, was $48,402. They do provide a service for Naples. I understand that they are a very large company. They do service quite a bit of different counties. Their home health visits across all the counties were $112,015 to pay back for the people that they service here in Naples. Will provide them to keep coming to Naples. It will give them a reason to keep coming and helping the Naples residents that need them in the home care and hospice. I can't put my fingers on just the Northern Light Care. I don't seem to have that here in my binder for some reason. But we certainly did cut a bunch of organizations that were rather large that were asking for our town to give them money that they didn't deserve because they weren't coming here asking for help for the people that they provided here. They were coming and asking us to pay just to put more money into their pockets. So we definitely did a lot of research on these people. And if they're in here, it's because they deserve to be here. Thanks.
And anyone else? We're voting on the amendment to reduce to $1,000 line items. Don't hear any, don't see anybody, so we're voting on the amendment. Do you wish to amend Article 47? All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? The amendment is defeated. So we're back to the original article of $72,194 for outside agencies. Anybody with any further comments on that article? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? And abstentions? It's a vote. Article 48, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and appropriate $10,138,081 for intergovernmental assessments.
So moved. Second.
We have the motion and the second.
Can you define intergovernmental assessments?
Yeah, the intergovernmental assessment is the county tax. So the intergovernmental covers two, it's the county tax and the school operating budget.
Those two only?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Anyone else? All those in favor? And opposed? And abstentions? It's a vote. Article 49, to see if the town will vote to appropriate funds in the amount of $220,892 for municipal fiber, connecting municipal buildings and establishing the infrastructure necessary for broader access to businesses and residents.
So moved.
I've got a lot of questions about municipal fiber, and I thought they were going to be here today to explain what they were all about. Where are they?
So Andrew, did Andrew make it here? Okay, so Andrew's on his way back. He was delayed slightly. He was on the ferry coming from Fry Island, and apparently a vehicle had fallen off the ferry. So he was delayed, but he did make it here. We also have GPCOG here. They facilitated the RFP process, the request for a proposal process, that allowed us to arrive at the recommendation for Sebago Fiber as the preferred provider. So in general, I guess I can help field some of the questions until Andrew gets back. Do you have any specific questions?
Well, can you explain again, you did earlier in the beginning, what they were all about, but would you mind going over that again?
Yep. So there are several companies out there that provide high-speed fiber services. You've got, Sam, what was the company?
Fidium.
Fidium. So Fidium Fiber, they are a division of Consolidated Communications. They offer fiber to the home. They're providing that service in Bridgeton now. Those companies, they will come in and install fiber to the home if they find it financially advantageous. In other words, if they have enough customers that they've identified and their return on investment warrants it, they will move in and provide that install. During the RFP process, Fidium was one of the companies through Consolidated Communications that provided a response to the RFP, and it was considered by GPCOG through the process. It was a multi-year process reviewing these. I think they spent 14 months alone looking at the various companies that responded to the RFP. At the end, the reason Sebago Fiber was recommended was they were the only company that was willing, one, they're local to Maine, they're not a nationwide company, or the local to New England. The other part is they were the only company that would offer irrevocable right of use, or an IRU. So the town would have exclusive rights to 12 strands of fiber within the bundle of fiber. There's a little over 200 fiber strands in that bundle, and we would have 12 of them. That would allow us to connect our municipal buildings without any throttling of the service. So anyone that's on Spectrum will notice that when you get on your internet, probably the first couple hours after kids get out of school or in the evening when people are watching more streaming services, your service might be slightly slower. You might experience lag when you're getting onto the internet, either streaming something or working. We would not have those issues with the municipal fiber service, and residents would not experience that as well. Also with Spectrum, what you have is an upload and a download speed. Your upload speed is significantly slower than your download speed. You may be paying for 600 megabits per second or even 1 gig per second for your download speed, but your upload speed might be only 16 megabits per second. So what does that mean? When you're making your queries to the internet, those are significantly slower than what's coming down to you. What a fiber service would provide is parity. So if you're buying a 300 megabit per second service, you're going to get 300 megabits per second up and down. The cost savings for the town, the return on investment, is right now we pay about $1,600 a month in Spectrum service for the various modems that we have to put in our municipal buildings because we can't share them. So
what do you mean by municipal buildings?
So the maintenance building, the fire station, Kent's Landing, the town office, Marine Safety Building, all of those each have to have a separate modem at a cost of about $1,600 per month. By having municipal fiber, we'd be able to communicate all through a single modem at a cost of about $800 per month.
Okay, so this is basically for the town.
This is for the town, but we would become what's called a foundational subscriber. So by us building out the service between the fire station and the maintenance building, we now put in the necessary hub that would allow then the folks at Sebago Fiber to bring that service to the homes. So when you have residents that now want to get fiber to their home through Sebago Fiber, the trunk is already in place.
Okay, but this is only for internet, it's not for TV, correct?
This is only for internet. They do not offer, you can buy the Spectrum app. So you can, once you have the internet connection, you could still go to Spectrum and say, I'd like to buy just the, your programming services through your application.
How much is that, do you know?
I do not know offhand. The greatest, the one that is most used, according to the team at Sebago Fiber, is YouTube TV, because you can get live television through YouTube TV.
Okay, but that's going to be an extra expense for people if they go with fiber.
It would. So you'd have to pay your fiber fee, which would bring the internet to your house, which would bring that communication pipeline, and then all of your other streaming services, Netflix, Prime, any of those various service providers, those would be an additional cost. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so do you think a lot of people are going to abandon Spectrum for fiber?
It will give them choice.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I know at my house I pay $209 a month for internet service and television. That's my fee at home. And if I was to use, if I had this option available to me, the basic internet fee would be $100. Because I like the speed, so I'd go for the one gigabit service. But I would probably have an additional $50 in cost for the various streaming services that I subscribe to.
I remember when they came in front of the board, I was at that meeting, they were talking about the cost for families. And they had one cost, which was really great, for $30 a month. I looked it up, and that is only for people who have limited income. It is a certain amount that they can't go over to qualify for that, and they have to apply for it. They also have to have a service like WIC, like Women, Infants, and Children, or food stamps, or something like that. So not everyone is going to get that service for $30 a month. So for the rest of it, it's going to be at least $100 or $150 a month. That's what I remember. Do you agree with that?
It will be a little less than that. Andrew, Andrew's back in the room. Brandy's here. Can you bring up their presentation? No. Just let her know what slide you want us to go to, Brandy.
If you would go to slide 7, please.
Go ahead and identify yourself.
My name is Brandy Scheido. I'm the Director of Marketing for Sebago Fiber. So this is our pricing pulled right from our website. Our base plan for the majority of customers starts at $75 a month. That includes a router that you get. There's no other fees involved in that, and that is not an introductory rate. That is just the price. I will note that we've been in business and we're in our 5th year on Fry Island, and we've never had a price increase to date. So our plan is our goal is to have sustainable pricing. You're right, that $30 plan is our affordability program. That is for residents who qualify based on either income or participation in one of those programs. We are voluntarily offering that program. It used to be required for internet service providers to offer a $30 plan based on the federal Affordable Connectivity Program. That Affordable Connectivity Program was funded by the federal government and reimbursed internet service providers for some of that cost. That program no longer exists, so Sebago Fiber felt it was really important to continue to offer that plan. So we've worked with GPCOG to qualify residents who might need that service for $30 a month.
On your website, is this working? Yeah. It also said that you recommend a UPS device.
That's correct. So.
What is that, for $80 or something?
A UPS device is optional for you. It is an uninterruptible power supply. So I think you all know the power goes out a lot around here. There's winter storms and things like that. And to date, with your cable internet service, if your power goes out, you do not have internet. With fiber, it is not susceptible to the same issues that cable is. So we have at our facilities our own generators and battery backups so that we can still continue to provide internet services when your power goes out, if you have power at your home. So if you have your own generator and then we're providing internet service to you, then your equipment is powered at your home, you can still have internet services as long as the physical line is not damaged, which is actually very uncommon for that line to be damaged. So a UPS device does a couple of things. You plug your modem, or so your router into that device, and it provides a battery backup. So it gives you time to either start your own generator or it can provide about 4 hours of backup to your own equipment so that you can continue to have services while your power is getting restored. And in the event of power fluctuations in this area, a lot of times the power grid or your wiring in your home might be older, and you might see power fluctuations throughout the day that can affect your internet equipment. A UPS protects against all of that as well to continue to provide you reliable services.
Are you all aware of satellite up in the sky that provide
Starlink?
internet, Starlink? Yeah. Have any of you, besides me, in this last week, seen the new iPads? They call it a Pi iPad by Tesla that you can get for $119. They are going to leave Apple and Samsung in the dust because iPads for Apple.
Carol, I think we're getting we're straying a little far from the article and getting a little deep into the operation and nuts and bolts of the.
But what I'm saying is you don't have to worry about power outages if you're using satellite technology.
But the question, okay.
Well, let's tell you, the town of Naples is going to spend $220,000 minus what you said earlier for outdated technology. It's going to be outdated in 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
People are going to go for satellite technology because it's cheaper.
Move the question.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Is there a second? We have a motion and a second to move the question. Non-debatable, takes 2/3. All in favor? All opposed? Abstentions? Move the question. We go immediately to the question. No further debate. That stops debate. Article 49, as read, appropriates $220,892 for connecting municipal budgets and establishing the infrastructure necessary for broader access to businesses and residents. By virtue of the motion to move.
Right. That's not right, because of one person that refused, that came up for every single question.
By motion to move the question. Ma'am, please be quiet.
That's ridiculous.
The motion to move the question has stopped debate. It has been approved by the body and by parliamentary procedure. We cannot further discuss it. We are voting on Article 49. Everybody understand? Okay. All those in favor? All those opposed? And abstentions? I judge it was passed. Article 50, to see if the town will vote to apply $16,474,400 in estimated anticipated revenues and any additional unanticipated revenues collected in the fiscal year 25-26 against the total amount authorized to be raised by taxation.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Comments, questions on this one? I have something right after this vote, so please don't get up to leave right immediately. All those in favor? And opposed? And abstentions? It's a vote. So again, those first articles will be considered. We ask you to come to the vote on Tuesday, the 20th, May 20th, at the municipal offices. That's where the municipal officials' seats, ordinances, and MSD 61 school budget will be voted on by secret ballot. The polls are open from 8 to 8 at the town office. This motion to adjourn will be to adjourn to Tuesday, May 20th at 8 a.m. That's the motion because of the way the warrant is set up this year. Yes.
Couple things before I make that motion, Penn, if I can.
What are they pertaining to this?
Of course they are.
We'll see.
So, one thing that comes to mind today, and something the select board took into consideration, is we saw it all over social media that we got to go back to a Saturday town meeting. I just want to point out that there's 30 less people here today than there was during the weekly town meetings. We always went over 100 people. Today there was 73, I believe I heard. The next point is, Jim brought up hours of operation. We've only heard from 2 people. So if it's something you want to see in the future, reach out to town manager, select board, whatever. We'll discuss it again, if there's enough interest. And thirdly, I just want to publicly thank Jason Rogers for his time with the town of Naples as our town manager. He was here for, I believe, 19 months, and he's moving on to a warmer state and enjoying life someplace else. And again, welcoming Randy on board on the 19th. But thank you, Jason, for your time.
We want to make that motion, Ted.
And a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn to May 20th, 2025 at 8 a.m.
As stated.
We have the motion and the second to adjourn to the 20th at 8 a.m. All those, any discussion on this one? All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? It's a vote. Thanks for coming out on such a rainy day.